or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Michelle. For the next hour, I will be reading from the June 14th issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Cover story, Take It Outside. Pictures, Diner Patio Aroma on Bryant Street. Picture, Left Bank on Rhode Island Street. Picture, first patio season for Myra on Elmwood. The Treehouse Cafe picture, part of the Blueberry Treehouse Farm in West Falls. Now's the time to capitalize on Buffalo's short but glorious summer season with a visit to one of its many patio restaurants by Francesca Bond. Patio season, so beautiful, so brief, is back. For an area that is patio hospitable for only about 3 or 4 months a year, Western New York sure has a lot of patios. And on the sun-drenched days when the Goldilocks conditions, no rain, no wind, no bees, are just right, is there anywhere better to be in Buffalo than a patio? This is just a small selection of favorites. If you want to eat and drink outside soon, consider the following bars, restaurants, and a couple of wild cards for fun. Waterfront dining. This is the summer of lakeside dining. I'm also calling it the summer of lobster, and would like to reserve the right to invent more monikers as the season progresses. The newest and shiniest waterfront patio belongs to Sully's Chowder House, Erie Street, a seafood spot from veteran restaurateur Jason Davidson. It's next to Davidson's other, more casual Sully's Harbor Bar and Grill at the Erie Basin Marina. Both have large patios directly on the water. Live bands show up on Thursday and Friday evenings. At the Outer Harbor, Pero and Pony at Furman Boulevard is back open for a second season of tacos, bucket-sized lemonades, and Aperol spritzers, served under umbrella-shaded picnic tables. Resurgence Brewing Company's beer garden alongside Canal Side's Boardwalk, Prime Street, also has water vistas dotted with grain silos and boats. Sidewalk patios. For people watchers who prefer to sit as close to the action as possible, bare-bone sidewalk patios are perfect. Remedy House on Rhode Island Street is home to Buffalo's most bustling sidewalk patio, faced outward Anthony Bourdain style while eating an egg on a roll. Patio guests at Cooney's, an upscale Japanese restaurant in the Elmwood Village, are bathed in golden hour sunlight while eating sushi and sake. Fatty Beer Company's downtown location on Genesee Street transforms a city sidewalk into a beer garden with picnic tables and an outdoor television screen playing sports. BB's on Main Street, a new lunch and happy hour restaurant in downtown Brisbane building, has a sidewalk patio boasting views of architecture, trees, and passers-by. The patio trifecta. Secret Garden. The backyard patios at 2 French restaurants within a half a mile of each other in Allentown, Casual Cocoa at 888 Main, and the more upscale Quenelle 341 Franklin Street are vibrant cases of low leaves, lights, and bistro tables. No cars in sight. The West Side's The Left Bank on Rhode Island Street and Roseland's Atlas, Rhode Island Street, both have fenced-in side patios shaded by tree canopies. Posa Art House's Wadsworth Street backyard patio, also in Allentown, is a romantic spot for drinks before or after its live jazz. Where's the music? In addition to being one of the best Texas barbecue restaurants outside of Texas, an accolade comes from barbecue expert and Texas Monthly's BBQ editor Daniel Vaughn. The West Side Southern Junction on Connecticut Street also has live cello on its backyard patio on summer Sundays. Sportsman's Tavern on Amherst Street. Upstairs patio in Black Rock is a fun spot for live bands in the fresh air. Duende, Silo City Row, grassy backyard, set among grain silos, has a stage for musicians in many genres, from bluegrass to jazz. The Terrace at Delaware Park, Lincoln Parkway, scenic balcony patio has waterfront views of White Lake and live jazz on Sundays. The backyard patio at No Fun Lo-Fi Bar, Elmwood Avenue, tucked behind clothing store Bureau and cocktail bar High Violet in the Elmwood Village, is popular for post-dinner DJ sets. Nice al fresco dinner. Myra on Elmwood Avenue, the newish Mediterranean restaurant from the team behind the Grange Community Kitchen, recently opened its awning-covered patio facing Elmwood Avenue. Waxlight Bar and Vins on Chandler Street invented food and drinks can be enjoyed in the sunshine of its Chandler Street patio. Both Aroma on Bryant and Ditando on Seneca Street serve Italian dinner on picturesque patios. The place is on 229 Lexington patio, whether on the front porch or in the beer garden, is a mainstay and great spot for wings. Both Brightsmith's Brewing on Niagara and Maine and Williamsville locations have large, well-landscaped patios on which to eat their creative brew pub food. Outside the city, Wayland Brewing Company's on North Buffalo Street, Orchard Park. Family-friendly patio is huge and has a couple amenities like fire pits and bocce courts. Hamburg Brewing Company's Boston State Road, Hamburg patio is so sprawling that it has its own pond. Along the lake in Hamburg, Hoax has long had one of the best waterfront party patios in the region. Orchard Park's Manja Restaurant and Cafe, North Buffalo Street, Orchard Park. Rooftop patio gives diners bird's-eye village views. The patio at East Aurora's Roycroft Inn, Grove Street, East Aurora, is a reliable beauty, whether your table faces the village or the inner garden. Out in East Concord, Mystic Hills Brewing on Allen Road patio immerses guests in its idyllic countryside setting. Blueberry Treehouse Farm on Davis Road, West Falls, looks like it was ripped from the pages of an illustrated storybook about fairies, which is to say, it's magical. Unusual suspects. Some of the best patios are unexpected. The Frank Lloyd Wright designed Martin House on Jewett Parkway, for example, is a house museum, not a restaurant, but its grounds have quite a few patio tables for guests to rest, read, and picnic in the company of beautiful architecture and gardens. Deer and Buffalo Bison's games, Salem Field, James Griffin Plaza, is really just one big patio when you think about it. The upstairs concourse patio tables face out into the city like a rooftop bar. Pay the $10 to $20 cover, aka a Bison ticket, and they throw in a whole live baseball game. On $2 Hot Dog Tuesdays, dinner is pretty cheap. Music. An Evening with Journey. Pictures. Arnel Pinata, Jonathan Cain, and Neil Scone with Dean Castronova on the drum kit rock out at KeyBank Center. Photos by Harry Skull Jr. Classic rock band Journey brought its Final Frontier tour to KeyBank Center on Wednesday evening when lead guitarist Neil Schon, the remaining original member of the band that was formed in San Francisco in 1973, was asked whether this would really be the band's final tour. He replied, "I can't really speculate at this point. I'm kind of ready to move on." The band's other current members include lead singer Arnel Pinata, keyboard guitarist Jonathan Cain, drummer Dean Castronova, keyboardist Jason Derglada, and bassist Todd Jansen. The 61-show tour is expected to wrap up in San Francisco on November 28th. Television. A web of intrigue. Nicolas Cage revels in being a Spider-Man for aging adults by Brian Truitt. At 62, Nicolas Cage is finally embracing his inner Spider-Man, swinging around the Big Apple with style while also feeling his age a bit. Playing the hard-boiled hero of Spider-Noir, streaming now on Prime Video in black and white and true hue color, means getting into a sort of daring-do with some wire work involved. Cage loves the stuff, even though you're always thinking, this could snap, and I'm going to drop, he says. But there's a bit of excitement and bliss. Okay, this is dangerous, and I'm feeling some adrenaline in my body, and I'm enjoying myself. In 1930s New York City, private detective Ben Riley Cage, played by Cage, hung up his heroic mask and fedora as the legendary Spider 5 years ago. A new case involved a notorious gangster played by Brendan Gleeson, a femme fatale singer, Lin Yun Lee, and a bunch of ex-soldiers with superpowers finds Ben embracing his spectacular spider abilities once again. He's far past his prime and gets his butt handed to him often in a brawl, but that makes him relatable, Cage adds. There's a lot of us getting older here, and we're not moving the same way we were when we were 18, and I think that's the difference. He's a Spider-Man for aging adults. The Oscar winner shared more about his Spider-Noir inspirations, insect moves, and the Spidey big bad he almost played. The interview was edited and condensed for clarity. Viewers can catch Spider-Noir episodes in black and white or color. Which do you prefer? For me, I designed my performance to fit in the black and white format. I knew that the studio might be nervous, and there was a little trepidation about doing it, I said. You don't only have to do it in black and white. There are teenagers. I understand why you might want to do it in color, because these teenagers don't have the experience with black and white that an older film enthusiast such as myself would have. I'm convinced that within 5 minutes of watching the black and white format, they will be hooked. What would be even better is if they see the references. They open the treasure box to this wealth of great American cinema, and they start watching these old black and white movies again. That would be the dream. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the June 14th issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News. Things to do. Juneteenth Festival. Shakespeare in Delaware Park by Tony Roberto. Patrick Gallo has stories to tell about growing up in an Italian family in Buffalo, about making the big jump to New York City at 19 to attend the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, and about what followed, a career packed with acting on stage, screen, and television, projects directing, writing, and editing, and his work in such iconic films in Martin Scorsese's The Irishman. He'll share some of those stories in How to Be an Artist, an intimate 90-minute journey through his life that is funny, heartfelt, and emotional. It's a remount of his How to Be an Artist in 10 super easy steps that Gallo said gives him the chance to investigate a new dynamic of the show. Joining him is friend and collaborator, Grammy-winning jazz pianist and composer George Caldwell. Quote, George and I have gone on this particular journey together with this latest version, and so, as art goes, it becomes our journey, a collaboration, unquote, Gallo said. Together we navigate the landscape and find the beacons. It's an exciting process. Gallo said he hopes audience members use the show as a mirror to see how inspiring their own life is. Spending a vibrant hour laughing and crying, temporarily distant from your own life, is another wonderful thing to get out of it, he said. But overall, releasing yourself to a collection of stories about another human is like jumping jacks for the soul. How to Be an Artist has performances Friday and Saturday in the Kaz on Seneca Street. Doors open at 5:30 with the show at 7. June Juneteenth festival continues. Starts at 10 a.m. today, Sunday, Martin Luther King Park, near the intersection of Fillmore and Best. One of the largest Juneteenth festivals in the country returns to its 50th year with the theme Honoring the Past. Bidwell Park series, 7 p.m. Tuesdays. Juneteenth festival continues. A parade was on Saturday. Bidwell Park concert series, 7 p.m. Tuesdays in Bidwell Park. This family-friendly event returns for 9 Tuesdays starting this week with music by Uncle Ben's Remedy, plus food trucks. Other June concerts are the Black Rock Beatles on June 23rd and the George Caldwell Quintet on June 30th. Concerts continue Tuesdays through August 11th. Depew Summer Concert Series, 7 p.m. Thursdays at the Gazebo in Veterans Park, Terrace Boulevard, Depew. Cammie Clune and her band kick off the annual outdoor series on Thursday. Food trucks start serving at 5:30 with music from 7 to 9. All concerts are on Thursdays except for the Friday, July 3rd event with Boys of Summer, followed by fireworks. Bring a lawn chair. Shakespeare in Delaware Park opens Thursdays on the Saul Elkin stage in Delaware Park. For its 51st season, Shakespeare in Delaware Park opens its main stage programming with Pericles, Prince of Tyr, which is making its SDP debut. It runs from Thursday through July 12th, with shows at 7 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. SDP's touring production of Fools and Foes has started free performances throughout the community. The hour-long show will be at Larkin Square on Monday and Canterbury Woods in Williamsville on Tuesday. For the full schedule, visit shakespeareindelawarepark.org. Western New York Authors Alliance Salon and Soiree, 6 to 9 Friday at the Knights Events Center, Union Road, Cheektowaga. Buffalo historian and Music Hall of Fame founder Rick Falkowski was hearing a constant refrain at events. People wanted an entertainment option with interesting conversations and without loud music. The result is his new Salon and Soiree series, based on how gatherings were held in homes more than a century ago, when authors, artists, and others gave talks and people mingled. Falkowski's events will be held in 2 sizes. The first one on Friday is the expansive event with about 20 authors. The second intimate event, June 27th at the Bestseller Book Bar in Clarence, will have about 10 authors. There will be presentations, a chance to speak with authors, plus raffles and Buffalo history trivia. A portion of the proceeds benefit the Cheektowaga Historical Association Museum. Lewiston Garden Fest, 10 to 5 Saturday and next Sunday, June 21st, along Center Street in Lewiston. It's the 20th annual Garden Fest in Lewiston, where you can see private gardens, hear speakers, and visit more than 100 vendors who will be selling flowers, plants, and garden essentials. Master gardeners from the Cornell Cooperative Extension will answer questions and provide free soil sample analysis in Hennepin Park. Everyone can participate in the Container Garden Contest. Bring your own entry and stand to Hennepin Park at 9 a.m. Saturday. Quick calendar. Planet K-Pop, 7 p.m. tonight, Sunday, in Shea's Buffalo Theater, Main Street. K-Pop Tribute Concert. Wines in the Wild, 6 to 9 Thursday at the Buffalo Zoo, Parkside Avenue. Sip a glass of wine, listen to music, sample food, and meet animal ambassadors during this annual fundraising event for the zoo. The Book of Mormon, Friday, Saturday, and next Sunday in Shea's Buffalo Theater, Main Street. 5 performances of the musical comedy Summer Carnival, Friday, Saturday, and next Sunday along Old Falls Street. Niagara Falls, midway rides, games, carnival treats, and food trucks. The U.S. Navy Band Commodore's Jazz Ensemble, 7 p.m. Saturday at the Art Park Main Stage Theater, 4th Street, Lewiston. Free tickets are available at the Art Park box office. Screening Room presents the Rocky Horror Picture Show, live shadowcast by the Francis Bacon Experiment. Doors opened at 7 Saturday at Electric City. Just announced. Kid Capri at Circle, Thursdays, 5 p.m., July 9th at the Buffalo Central Terminal, Paderewski Drive. Beatles Rooftop Tribute, 6 p.m., July 29th at Larkin Square with the Black Rock Beatles. Elvis Costello and the Imposters with Charlie Sexton, 8 p.m., September 12th in the OLG Casino, Niagara Falls, Canada. Jay Farrow, 8 p.m., November 13th, 14th in the Bears Den showroom of the Seneca Niagara Resort and Casino, Niagara Falls, New York. Dar Williams, 7 p.m., November 18th, Ashbury Hall, Badeville, Delaware Avenue. Western Riviera Theater, just announced. Fleetwood Mac, January 29th and 30th. Carol Dixon sings the Guess Who, February 5th. Tickets on sale now. The Land of Oz, June 19th. Burlesque, starring Danny Diesel and Friends, June 27th. The Goonies, July 1st. Yellow Brick Road, tribute to Elton John, July 10th and 11th. The Gambler Returns, tribute to Kenny Rogers, July 17th. Green Today, tribute to the Green Day, July 18th. Back to the Future, July 22nd. The music of Phil Collins and Genesis, July 24th. Montgomery Gentry, August 6th. Furious, Hip Hop Legends, August 8th. Barry Manilow, August 14th. Queen Nation, August 28th, 29th, and 30th. Television. Network TV's fall schedule is flimsy, lacks creativity. Nick Bilton, the tech journalist and filmmaker named the controversial new executive producer of 60 Minutes, didn't make many friends working at the legendary news magazine last week, even before he fired correspondent Scott Peely. During his inaugural meeting with the 60 Minutes team, he declared that broadcast television is an ice cube that's melting. But looking at the fall schedule, you can see why people may think network TV is on thin ice. CBS, NBC, ABC, and Fox are premiering a limited schedule of new series this fall. Streaming sites, which dominate the summer, premiere more series in a month than the networks premiere in the entire fall. The networks increasingly rely on expensive professional and college sports and cheap reality shows to fill its roster of fall programs and save some of their most promising series for mid-season when more viewers are available because of winter weather. And then there's a loss of creativity, exemplified by how often the networks are going back to their past for their future. The Rockford Files, Highway to Heaven, and Baywatch, and another installment of NCIS are being revived. Let's take a quick look at the new fall network offerings, which they are currently promoting during the summer when network television viewership is melting. CBS, NCIS, New York, 9 p.m. Tuesday. Just what America's waiting for. An all NCIS night. LL Cool J is back in Special Agent Sam Hanna on the newest NCIS show that is sandwiched in between the original NCIS and NCIS Origins. The hook is Sam is back in his hometown. R. Scott Gemmell from The Pit is one of the executive producers. He previously previously served as showrunner for NCIS LA. Eternally Yours, 8:30 p.m. Thursdays, a vampire comedy. A Seattle couple who have been married for 500 years aren't happy their daughter's dating a human being. Most parents would settle for that. Cupertino, 10 p.m. Thursday, an hour drama starring Mike Colter from Robert and Michelle King from The Good Wife, about a different kind of vampires, greedy Silicon Valley types. Colter plays a lawyer who teams with a promising young lawyer played by Rachel Keller to stand up against the giants of Silicon Valley. You know, like the Ellisons, who owns Paramount, which owns CBS, and want to own more media. That's it, in the fall. CBS isn't even programming a new show at 10 Sunday instead of airing repeats of its drama series that it refers to as encores. A new drama, Einstein, about Albert Einstein's directless great-grandson, eventually will arrive. The younger Einstein, played by Matthew Gray Gubler, will solve crimes with a police detective played by Melissa Fumero. You don't have to be a genius to see where this partnership is going. Fans of Matlock and Ghosts and NCIS Sydney will have to wait until mid-season to see new episodes. NBC. It has announced 4 new series, but only 2 have been given time slots this fall. Line of Fire, 10 p.m. Monday. Peter Krause of Parenthood fame and Hope Davis star. Here's NBC synopsis. A family of law enforcement agents bridges personal differences and crosses professional boundaries as they tackle cases for the FBI, U.S. Marshals, Secret Service, and the Department of Justice. It doesn't seem to be the right time to focus on the FBI and the Department of Justice. Interestingly, Jenna Bush Hager is one of the executive producers. Newlyweds, 8:30 Friday, real-life couple, Tia Leone and Tim Daly star in the romantic comedy. She's a free spirit. He's a buttoned-up professor. Let's hope it is half as funny as The Honeymooners. Jamie Lee Curtis has a recurring role. The time slot for the popular Emmy-winning Peacock's reality series, The Traitors, hosted by Alan Cumming, hasn't been determined. It has a new twist. He opens the doors to his now infamous castle in the Scottish Highlands to everyday Americans. NBC is saving 2 new series for mid-season. Buffalo-born David Boreanaz takes the Tom Selleck role in a reprise of The Rockford Files. The new comedy Sunset P.I. from the executive producers of Brooklyn Nine-Nine presumably makes fun of private investigators. ABC. It doesn't have 1 new fall series scheduled. Zip, nada. It plans to carry a mid-season spin-off, The Rookie, North. Fans of The Bachelor, Bachelor in Paradise, High Potential, Shifting Gears, The Rookie, and Will Trent will have to wait until 2027 to see them. Fox. Its 2026-27 fall and mid-season schedules and are loaded with reality and game shows and revivals of old hits. The drama series returning are my Fox favorite Doc, America's Favorite, Best Medicine, as well as Memory of a Killer starring Patrick Dempsey and Murder in a Small Town. Only Doc and Best Medicine will air in the fall. The new series are revivals of Baywatch and the inspirational 1984 Michael Landon series Highway to Heaven. I'm looking forward to Heaven since showrunner Jason Katims has been behind 2 of my favorite heartwarming series, Friday Night Lights and Parenthood. It won't air until 2027. Fox does have an interesting sounding new 2027 drama, The Interrogator. It's an espionage thriller set in Washington, D.C., starring, written, and executive produced by actor-comedian Stephen Fry. He plays a quirky, charming MI6 agent. Jenna Eflin, remember Dharma and Greg co-stars? Fox also announced a new animated series, Stewie, a spin-off of Family Guy, will premiere in January. And then there's a reality show likely to create a Bachelor-like controversy. According to a Fox release, Marriage Market is a dating series hosted by actress, comedian, and podcaster Whitney Cummings, in which real singles ready for marriage relinquish total control of their love lives to their closest family members, who marry them off in a market like no other. Just when you think Fox programmers have become classy, Fox can't help but be Fox. Books. Rochester's Bliss finds calm grief in Dog's Long Life by Jim Memmott. You Can Never Die, a graphic memoir by Henrietta native Harry Bliss, is first of all a story about a dog and a man. The dog is Penny. She's right there on the book cover as sketched by Bliss. For 17 years, Penny doesn't exactly save Bliss' life, but she certainly stabilizes it. Penny gets Bliss out of the house and out of his head. Not that far out of his head, Bliss, who's 62, is a warrior, and even when he and Penny are having fun, he sees the Grim Reaper at the end of the line. These days, every time I see Penny, I'm reminded of the inevitable grief I most certainly will feel when she dies, he writes in a journal entry. I honestly don't know how I'll manage. Dog owners will understand. Anxiety is part of the pet package. The man in the memoir is, of course, Harry Bliss. His name may be Bliss, but he's not always happy. Then again, neither were his father or his mother. Genetics rule. But Bliss has had a brilliant career as an author and illustrator. There have been a New Yorker covers galore. He's collaborated with comedian Steve Martin on a book after book. He produces a daily cartoon, Bliss, that's seen widely. It all seems to start when he's 14 and stays up one night drawing his feet. When morning comes, he makes it to the schoolyard and says to the world and himself, I'm going to be an artist and I'm going to leave this place. Leave it he does. And the memoir tells a story, mixing cartoons, sketches, and excerpts from his daily journal. It works a kind of magic, drawing readers in, making them laugh, making them worry, making them think. It's a heavy book, 2 pounds, 8 ounces, but not a heavy read. It's not a chronological memoir, one that begins with birth and marches through the life. It can bounce between happy and sad and in between. Bliss includes many of his journal entries. He includes sketches from his life. There's a brave candor throughout. Bliss doesn't hold back. Cartoons are interspersed throughout, many showing animals in charge. Bespectacled dog holding a manuscript tells a worried writer, Glenn, I'm not just your editor, I'm also your best friend, I'm telling you, lose the cat. Books. Spine-tingling. 10 horror novels that amp up the fear factor for your summer reading list by Sarah Bacha. Some people crave sunny skies and sand between their toes. Others would rather crawl back under the blanket until summer's over. Luckily, there's no shortage of horror novels out there to keep us busy until the days grow darker and the nights longer. Here are 10 titles to look forward to that bend genres, conjure the atmosphere we crave, and fill the void that's left by Halloween every year. I Know a Place, Rest Stop and Other Dark Detours by Nat Cassidy. The first collection of short stories from Cassidy comes with an introduction by Stephen King, Need We Say More? The collection features the acclaimed novella Rest Stop, along with 12 other pieces that detail locations filled with doom and gloom. The Caretaker by Marcus Kluwer. We've read it before. A woman takes a caretaking job that turns out to be far different from what she expected, except this time Kluwer delivers a unique take and draws readers into the waking nightmare main character, Macy, must now undertake, and she might just save the world while doing so. Follow the rights and save humanity. Count us in for The Caretaker. The Dorians by Nick Cutter. If you could restore your youth, would you? That's the question Cutter, the pen name of author Craig Davidson, asks in this novel that pays homage to Oscar Wilde's classic, The Picture of Dorian Gray. The Dorians follows 5 elderly volunteers as they undergo an experiment in the Canadian wilderness to stop the clock, but at what price? Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker. Japanese Gothic follows college student Lee, an exiled samurai son, as they discover a door in the same house linking them despite living more than a century apart. Baker finds a way to reinvent and combine the dual timeline and haunted house tropes. The Suffering by David Sattergren. The Scottish author is a fan favorite, especially when it comes to gore, and his latest proves why. Diving into the religious and historical horror subgenres, The Suffering takes place in a creepy Italian convent and rapidly dissolves into bloody madness. Bone of My Bone by Johanna Van Veen. After making waves with My Darling Dreadful Thing and Blood on Her Tongue, Van Veen returns with her third sapphic Gothic novel, Bone of My Bone. The paths of a nun, a peasant, and a necromancer become intertwined as they journey through a Bavarian forest in the midst of the 30 Years' War with the intention of reuniting a saint's skull with its body. What could go wrong? Headlights by C.J. Leedy. If you've read either of Leedy's other novels, Mayfly or American Rapture, you already know you're in for a wild ride, regardless of the subject matter. As a special agent makes his way back to Colorado to chase after a serial killer, he'll have to deal with his past. Dead but Dreaming of Electric Sheep by Paul Tremblay. Drawing inspiration from Phil K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, Tremblay latest bends sci-fi into horror. Bernie's in a coma, or is he? He needs to figure out what that white rabbit tattoo came from. And Julia's moving his body across the country with a video game controller for her tech tycoon mother. Yay, it's confusing, but we're here for it. Comes out June 30th. Fabulous Bodies by Chuck Tingle. Poppy is a fashion influencer and a grave robber. She's been hired to steal the body of a rock star, queer icon, but, well, he just woke up. Travel with her as carnage and camp spill out across Palm Springs in the latest from Tingle. Comes out July 7th. Lights, Cameras, Friendo by Adam Cesare. Our favorite clown, Shh, Don't Tell Pennywise, is back in the 4th installment of Caesar's Clown in a Cornfield series, and this time Friendo is ready for his close-up. The series reads exactly like a horror film, but now it's actually about a horror film being made about the infamous Kettle Springs Massacre. Taste. Restaurant notes. Orchard Park's World of Desserts boasts a global menu. If you give a moose a cookie, he's going to ask for a glass of milk. Everyone knows this. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to ask for a glass of milk. Everyone knows this. How does the mouse know that there is a world of desserts out there? He could ask for more than a cookie. He could have a macaroon or a meringue or even a tiramisu. Creme brulee, Anastasia, and Pavel Shevchenko did not feel limited to the norm of cookies and cakes when they opened their bakery food truck, World of Desserts, a few years ago. They saw the world's desserts as their oyster. Any dessert that they had eaten during their travels was fair game, and why not, when nearly every recipe can be conjured in an instant. Now they've opened a brick and mortar and a plaza in the village of Orchard Park that follows the same philosophy. For example, the bakery is the very American location, tucked in a quiet suburban plaza facing a parking lot. But the Shevchenkos have done their best to make the cafe feel like it's in Italy. A life-size mural of a verdant, cobbled Italian street covers an entire wall. Looking at it from a table feels like gazing at a virtual reality screen. The desserts, baked from scratch by the Shevchenkos in the kitchen, comes from everywhere. There's a dainty Australian pavlova, which is meringue topped with mascarpone cream and fruit for $8. It's the best seller because it's very cute and it looks like a white cloud, said Anastasia. Italian tiramisu for $8 and cannoli for $4.50 matched the mural. French macaroons, 1 for $3.50 or 3 for $9, took Anastasia a couple of years and a couple of professional baking courses to perfect. Order creme brulee for $8.50, which is not often found outside of the fine dining restaurants, with an Italian espresso. The American South is represented by the perfect summer dessert, banana pudding for $8 and a gluten-free version for $9. Buffalo's ambiguous cookies and brownies are in the dessert cabinet too. In addition to desserts, they serve a small menu of sandwiches served on bagels and croissants, acai bowls, salads, espresso, and matcha drinks. The Shevchenkos are international people. They were born and raised in Moldova, an Eastern European country between Ukraine and Romania. They enjoy international travel and have picked up a lot of their dessert inspirations from various trips. I love sweets, so I always have to try something new, Shevchenko said. We just applied our travel experience to our sweet love. We just figured that every customer can just feel themselves somewhere in a different place. Pavlo is a trained pastry chef and has local restaurant experience from Russell's and Black and Blue. Anastasia worked in Moldovo as an EMT and a doctor, but has been baking since she was a child, when her family couldn't afford all the treats she desired from the local bakery. A brick and mortar was always the dream, but they're keeping the food truck and will be at Larkinville's Food Truck Tuesday, along with food festivals like the Taste of East Aurora and Taste of Orchard Park this summer. Some desserts rotate weekly. Last week's cannoli will become a multi-layered Eastern European honey cake this week, since Anastasia's baking it for their daughter Elizabeth's 3rd birthday. I love experimenting, Shevchenko said. If someone will call and say, hey, will you do me a Jamaican chocolate cake or German chocolate, I will be up to it because I love to do new things. World of Desserts is open from 7:30 to 3 Tuesday and Wednesday, 7:30 to 5 Friday, and 8 to 5 Saturday, 8 to 2 Sunday, North Buffalo Street, Orchard Park. Food events. Sunday's Juneteenth festival, which celebrates the end of slavery in America, returns Saturday and Sunday Martin Luther King Park. Food vendors will be among the festival's many attractions, which include a parade and music. The Zion United Church of Christ annual Strawberry Festival is from 11:30 to 3 Saturday, 15 Koenig Circle, Tonawanda. Eat strawberries in the form of fruit, shortcake, and other treats. There will also be a bake sale, car show, dunk tank, live music, and bounce house. Marks of Excellence. Secrets for grilling juicy, flavorful chicken breasts. There are grilled burgers and hot dogs, but no dish speaks so true grilled prowess quite like perfectly grilled chicken. Marked by the grill and turned a most gorgeous caramel-colored hue, the very best grilled chicken breasts promise to be juicy and tender, and are versatile for quick summer meals and a good tomato. Grilled chicken has become so ambiguous, though, that we often forget what a real stunner it can be among dry and less flavorful grilled fare. Fruit forward. 2 delicious ways to celebrate strawberries. strawberry shortcake with honey yogurt cream, and strawberry caprese salad. Plant for pollinators. Gardening by Norman Winter. There is supposedly an unwritten rule in the plant breeding world. If the new plant is not orange, then it may be called blue. I am forever being told that the plant I'm touting is not blue, but is purple, lavender, or well, you get the drift. There will, however, be no argument over one of the most celebrated salvias, rockin' blue suede shoes. By celebrated, I mean 38 awards stretching from Canada to Florida, including perfect score trophies. Oh yes, it's definitely blue in color. If you are a salvia aficionado, you can't help but think that some of the DNA is salvia guarantees or anise-scented sage. The tag will tell you it is a cold hardy in zone 9 and warmer, and will reach about 40 inches tall. I am in zone 8, West Georgia, and I have never lost one to old man winter. All my clumps are 6 to 7 years old and reach 5 to 6 feet in height as of June 1st. They are at the top of the menu for the ruby-throated hummingbirds. You'll find hummingbirds from May until late October as they fatten up for the trip to the tropics. This is when you realize how special it is to have a plant with beautiful flowers from spring through fall, feeding hummingbirds that will migrate. But it's not just hummingbirds, it's butterflies too. I'm amazed to see migrating monarchs stopping by to partake of the nectar in these large tubular flowers offer. Best of all, they are not on the deer dinner menu. Other butterflies like the eastern tiger swallowtail, spicebush swallowtail, gulf frilly, and an assortment of yellow surfle species frequent the blooms as well, creating nature's complementary color scheme. Rockin' blue suede shoes salvia is an easy plant to grow. The soil need not be luxuriously fertile. It does need to drain well and get plenty of sun to reach its blooming potential. As I mentioned, mine are fairly large and sometimes spread outward more than the space I want to give them. Some simply break branches off or separate a portion of the clump. The plant simply keeps growing and performing like the champion it is. I rarely feel the need to fertilize any of the rockin' salvias. They seem to have just the right amount of vigor. I've got rockin' blue suede shoes in 4 or 5 places in the landscape, and they don't seem to be babies when it comes to needing water. But I'll admit mine are growing in pockets of sun in the forest. When you consider the height, whether it be 40 inches, like the tag says, or 60 to 72 inches, like those at my house, you'll be thinking of back of the border, or perhaps as a wall of separation in a long bed. I had created a pollinator bed along the fence separating the front yard from the back that has given me some of my most enjoyable moments. If you grow lantanas, you'll love the rockin' blue suede shoes as partners. I have some with luscious marmalade, while my son James uses them with luscious royal Cosmo. If you find yourself longing to create a backyard habitat, salvia needs to have a whole role. Rockin' blue suede shoes, fuchsia, and deep purple are award winners that will bloom from late spring through frost. You have been listening to a reading of articles and features from the June 14th issue of the Sunday Gusto from the Buffalo News. Your reader has been Michelle. Thank you for listening.
Coming up next in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have the front section of the Sunday Times. At 2 o'clock, we have the New York Times Opinion section. And at 3 o'clock, we have the New York Times Arts and Leisure section. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. If you're listening to this publication online, you're probably using our website, a podcast player like Spotify or iTunes, a streaming service like Siro, or a smart speaker. Did you know that we now have a dedicated app that can be downloaded to any mobile device, like a smartphone or tablet, for free? App users can conveniently access our live stream and any episode of our podcast easier than ever. To download the app, just type NFRRS in the search window in the Apple App Store or in the Google Play Store. Contact us anytime if you have any questions by calling 716-821-5555, extension 5. Thank you. You're listening to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. As of this year, our agency has broadcast more than 300,000 hours of radio readings. Volunteer radio readers read newspapers, magazines, and books to area people who are blind or have a print disability, who are provided reading radios. Radio Reading's broadcast signal is provided at no charge by WNED. Radio Reading broadcasts from studios at 1199 Harlem Road in suburban Buffalo. Please let others know about Radio Reading. It's your service. For more information on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, call 716-821-5555. following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability, which makes reading, holding a book,